Today, I finally got my new springs and took all the old brackets and sandblasted those, got all the grime and rust off of those. And then I got a installation kit, so I got new bushings for the shackles, new rubber pads for the rear end there, new bolts, new U-bolts, and all of this I think was well worth it. So what I'm going to do now, the front bushings are pressed, and so what I will do is build this thing in this way, and then when I get ready I'll just flip it over and then use my jack to jack it up into place. I don't anticipate this taking too long, so I will start. And I think these things just slip right in here like this. Pretty straightforward, not too complicated. Not too complicated, I say. Okay. All right, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to block this thing up so I can bring it up to the level of the springs. And then I'll continue from there. Okay, got it blocked up to where those springs are a little closer to the bracket. I better check that, make sure I've got that on that stud underneath there. You know, I love GM engineers. Now, instead of making a left and right bracket, which would, be what I think everybody else would do, they just made the same bracket, and they just set the shock on the front of the axle or in the back of the axle instead of having two separate pieces. But I'm thinking they couldn't engineer their way out of this deal, because this is a left and right bracket, but it was the only way they could make it work. But it's the same sort of thing where you can take a 350 out of a 95 pickup and you can bolt it right into a 55 Bel Air. They just made things wonderfully easy for restoration and for hot rodding and for all sorts of fun things to do. Okay, I got the new springs on and just a couple of new U-bolts. And other than that, other than the rubber things in between, it's all just the original hardware. And so the trick now is to slide it with the jack up under there and just slowly start jacking it up into position and just get the bolts in it, and that's how we're going to do it. Okay, well, I just put the differential on my floor jack, just rolled it up underneath here. Use my other jack, just sort of lift it up into place where I needed it. And what I found the best thing here was to, after trial and error, was to get the this front bolt in first, and then get these bracket bolts in. I tried to do it the other way first. That didn't work. Then I had the bolts in backwards. That didn't work. So trial and error, and I've got those two parts in. Zoom in on this other one, wherever it is now. But there it is. So next thing to be done is the rear shackle, and get in here a little better. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the bushings and hang the upper part of the shackle in first, and then put the bushings in on this eye here, and it should be pretty straightforward. It should be a real big deal to do. And so that's the next thing to be done. Okay, this morning I'm going to